Hi everybody, happy Tutorial Tuesday. We are going to talk about blemishes today and how to remove them in Photoshop. I learned this technique a couple of months ago that I'm going to show you, and I'm not exactly sure who to give credit to because I can't remember where I learned it, but I did not make this up. This is not from an original Katie technique, but it is a great technique, and I'm going to share it with you guys so that you can pass it along. And there are several ways in Photoshop to do almost anything, okay? So we can use our stamp tool, our patch tool, we can use the Band-Aid healing tool, all these things to get rid of blemishes. But this is one way that I find really great when I work on faces that have freckles or just happy lines, things like that. So we don't want to get rid of those things that make people who they are. We just want to refine them a bit. Okay, so this is my gorgeous little niece, little sassy girl right here, and we're going to use her face to get rid of some of these, to show you how to get rid of some of these blemishes. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and duplicate our background layer twice, once and twice. Okay, and we're going to always rename our layers, okay, because background copy and background copy 2 can be confused with background, right? So background copy, the first one, we're going to go ahead and call that Gaussian blur. All right, and then the second will be apply image. And you'll see why in a second. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn off apply image for a second and go and make sure we have selected the Gaussian blur layer. All right, we're going to go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Okay, and the pixels, you can change them here and you can go up and down, but what we really just want to do is to make sure that the pixels right by each other are blurring a little bit. We don't want to do too much, because if you see that red will blur right into her skin tone too much, and that's not what we're going for here. We just want a slight blur, a softening, if you will. Okay. All right, so I think 6 is probably enough. So if you watch me, if I click on it with the hand in the preview screen, you'll see what it really is right now, and you'll see what happens when it blurs. And I think that's a good enough blur, okay? So 6. Usually anywhere between 4 and 8 maybe would be probably good, especially for portraits. Okay. All right, so that's blurry. Now let's try it, and let's put on our apply image there. Woo, details. Okay, now this image is going to be affected by the image menu, okay? Go to image and apply image, okay? Right now we're making sure that we are applying to the correct layer, which is our Gaussian, not our background layer, because there's nothing on it. Our Gaussian blur layer is what we want, okay? Now, we also want to make sure that our blending mode is subtract, and you'll know subtract because of the gray image you see right now, okay? So if we did, for instance, difference, it would not be the right apply layer. So always look for that subtract, that gray image, okay? All right, there you go. Go ahead and OK. You can leave everything else in that tool, in that menu bar as it is. It comes out of the box fine for this technique, okay? Now, on our layer panel, we want to go ahead and use our blending modes here, and we want to change the apply image layer to linear light. Okay. All right. So now, if we turn it off, we have our blurred layer, and we turn it back on, we have our detail layer. Okay. So you can refer to apply image now as details, and our Gaussian blur as color. Okay, just so you know what I'm saying when I'm going through the process. Okay, as I said before, there's so many ways and so many tools to get rid of blemishes. I like to use the patch tool specifically, but you can also use the stamp, the clone stamp tool. Let me see, under the patch tool there's the healing brush and all that jazz. So I'm going to go ahead and use the patch tool because it's my favorite, but you play and you figure out what's best for you. Now we have a couple of blemishes down here, a little bit of food, it's all good, they're kids. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you what happens when I apply, when I use this patch tool to get rid of a blemish, okay? This one's the most obvious. So I'm going to go ahead and drag it to some pixels that I want it to look like. Okay, you still see all the detail, don't you? So what would happen is that in the Gaussian blur layer, we just applied the color difference, okay? Not the details. So now I go to apply image, go to the detail layer, and I can drag and drop. And now it's gone, like magic. Okay? In some instances, it will work to just be on one layer. Okay? So we're just getting rid of some of these little tiny things that we see because we're so zoomed in. Now, however, if we get rid of this, now we blurred it too much. That is not what we want. Okay? Because albeit one day she will not want a mustache, but right now we don't want that. It's going to become like an angelic, too blurred face, and that's not what we're going for right here. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to get rid of the color, that yellowiness. We can apply a little bit of a different color by dragging and dropping our lasso to the pixels around it. Okay, and you can tell now that it's not as yellow, okay? Now, if we do need to, we can definitely get rid of this little piece right here, but we want to be very careful about what we're doing, so just take your time, okay? I might be going a little fast just because I'm trying to show it to you, but that's okay. Okay, so for instance here, we want to just drag and drop. Okay, well the color's still there, so we got to go back, and we got to drag and drop it to the color pixels we want, okay? All right, so another great use of this tool is for under eyes. Sometimes the bags or the color is a little bit purpley. We want to even out all the skin tone. We can go ahead and use the Gaussian blur or color layer to even out our skin tone a bit, okay? You can notice that we are getting a little less purple, right? All right, and maybe over here. And again, you can use your clone tool for this. And right now we're just picking up color. We are not moving. If you notice, the under the eye lines have not been taken away. I have not made it so that she has no lines now. And this is really important, I think, when you're an editor of more realistic images. Sometimes women like to get rid of those lines altogether and just be perfectly angel-like, but that's not how I edit. I edit very realistically, okay? So for instance, right here is a little bit of a bruise. We want to get rid of that, but we don't want to get rid of her hair here, okay? Again. All right, so you get the idea. The idea is not to get rid of the freckles or the things that make people who they are. We just want to get rid of the blemishes, okay, or even out the skin tones. And this is one great way to even out skin tones without truly affecting the entirety of the face and getting rid of the things, okay? All right, I hope this is beneficial to you guys and that you'll be able to use it. If you have any questions, always feel free to ask, and we will definitely try to help and to continue to give you fun little tidbits on how to use Photoshop. So, all right, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next Tutorial Tuesday.